Hey, it's Tim.
Hey, it's Spider-Man, and we are Worth It Fridays.
What the nani?
Welcome to episode 5 of our Games Podcast, where we talk about games that could be worth your Fridays. Games are expensive nowadays, so we really want to bring you guys more conversations and more opinions every Friday on games new or old that are still worth playing today. If you like what we do, you should hit that like, subscribe, and notification button because it really helps us a lot. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and take it away, David.
Today's episode, we have two special guests here. We have our friends here. Unfortunately, they don't have webcams. But we have Dennis here. So Dennis, say hi.
Hello.
And then we also have our another friend here is Harley. Harley, say hi.
Hi.
Alrighty. So today's episode will be based on Genshin Impact. And the question will be is it worth trying? For those who don't know, Genshin Impact is based on a game that was developed by a company called MiHoYo. And what this game is pretty much based on is an open world exploration game. There's gacha in it, and it's an open world where you can run around, glide, and literally climb every single mountain you see, I believe. And also cool puzzles for you to do, and a bunch of monsters to kill. So let's just start our review and our impression of the game. So Tim, what do you think of Genshin Impact?
What do I think of Genshin Impact? It looks crazy. First of all, the fact that I think one, that it's a free-to-play game, and two, that this is like everything. It's like a AAA release, but if everything feels not broken, I think would be the initial impression. You know, especially games that as a live service nowadays are like very, what's the word, like not complete. And this feels just right, I would say.
Nice. What do you guys think, Dennis? What do you think the game is like for you?
I mostly agree with what Tim said. From my perspective and a lot of my friends' perspective, this was kind of the first AAA mobile game in a sense, where the quality feels really high and the production is just super high all throughout. They managed to nail a cross-platform release and an international release as well, which is really rare for mobile games. Usually mobile games will come out initially in their home country, but this actually launched all across the world, which was pretty big, I think, and on PC, PS4, and mobile, right? Usually it's like it comes out on mobile and then it comes out on like as a PC port later, and usually the port feels bad, but for Genshin Impact, it really feels like no matter which platform you play on, it's playable, you know, and it feels pretty good. So yeah, just very high production quality, and the exploration is very fun. I find the exploration very fun.
I see. And how about you, Harley? What are your
So my opinion for it being like such a large cross-platform game, it's good, definitely. But for me personally, even just playing on like one platform, where it's like playing on PC or playing on PS4, is good enough for me. Because I do, although it functions on the phone, I think this game, to really kind of like appreciate how great the graphics look, how smooth the animation transitions are, it's better to play like maybe with a controller or on a keyboard, is what my opinion would be. But yeah, it is nice to have it cross-platform. Also, I do enjoy the fact that although it does have a system that kind of limits your playstyle, you also get that sense of like completion. You only play a certain amount per day, you don't have to keep going. I actually appreciate the fact that because most other games compared to this, there is technically no ending, or the ending is really far and you don't know when to stop, right? But this really keeps your gameplay in check. Yeah, and that's all I have to add to it. I do
Cool.
agree with everything else.
Nice, nice. Okay. So would you guys say, since the game was released like a few months ago, is it too late to start now? Like, is it hard to catch up with everything? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's fine. You can start whenever, and like Harley said, there's the stamina resin system,
Okay.
and that kind of limits how much you can really play. So as long as you pace yourself, you can still make it through content, and you might feel behind for a while, but generally speaking, as these games kind of go longer, like just at the point we're not at that point yet. But generally, the further these games go, they tend to add catch-up mechanics for new players as well. But even just now, it's still fine to start, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool. Also, I'm curious. How many hours have you guys played this game? Because for me, I only spent 10 minutes, and then I got busy with work. So I'm just curious, like, how many hours did you guys put into this game so far?
Ooh, the amount of hours.
That's a good question. How do I check it?
I actually don't think there is a way to check it, so I don't really know.
A lot.
Oh,
Not
a
as much,
lot.
but a lot.
Okay, okay. Yeah, totally agree with you guys for my 10 minutes of impression of the game. Yeah, it kind of gives me the vibe of Breath of the Wild, and if you guys don't know what Breath of the Wild is, we have an episode on that for you, so check it out on our channel. But other than that, yeah, I was impressed with the graphics. What I really like is I'm more of the story guy, so the storyline was quite interesting for me. I'll just start off. I like how where you select characters. Usually,
Yeah,
if it's
that was
a
cool.
boy or girl,
Just like
Yeah.
the intro, yeah.
just the intro. But I love it when it's like a cutscene and it kind of gives you gameplay and a halfway cutscene too. I just love it. But my impression of playing the game on the phone, I noticed my thumb was cramping a little bit. Like, for those who don't know, I have an iPhone 11, right? iPhone 11, so it's like a pretty good, decent size. But when I played it, I'm just like, ugh. There's a lot of buttons. What I thought there shouldn't, but there is, just because there's so much the game has to offer you in mobility and what you can do. But yeah, I just noticed just like, yeah, I get so finicky with the camera controls, and I'm like, I just can't. And then when I went to PC, yeah, it was a lot cleaner, a lot easier to move around, and less finger cramping for me. So. But other than that, I would say my first impression was good. And if you don't have a PC or a console and you're just stuck on your mobile, it's still worth it for me. But yeah, that's my initial impression of the game. I'm just curious, if you guys were to rate, I know the story hasn't ended, but would you guys say is it worth for you guys to learn the story? Because I know there's some gamers who just kind of click, skip, just get to the gameplay. But by a show of, well, I guess you guys can't really show off hands. Sorry, Dennis, Harley. But who actually read the story and took their time to kind of learn everything?
My hand is down, just so.
Okay.
I read the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read most of it. I think I skimmed some parts.
Some parts, eh? Okay. Okay, yeah. And yeah, I thought it was very interesting how it's not an ending, so there's always more content coming up. So, and I think that's good. My next question would be, is there a lot of voice actors in this game? Like, I know there's English voice actors and Japanese voice actor, but is this kind of a nice friendly game for other language? Do you guys know?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, there's Japanese voices, as you said. There's English voices, as you've said. Also, there's Chinese voices, as you said. Well, no, you didn't say that, actually. But there's Chinese voices, as the game is. It originated from China. And I believe there's also Korean voices. And I think there's actually a lot more than that, but those are the ones I'm aware of.
Yeah, I think there's also like Spanish and a few other that also can't also recall. But yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton of languages, and everything, like the story is fully voice acted as well for the most part. Like if side quests aren't all voice acted, but the main story itself is all fully voice acted, I think too. So
Yeah. Just as a pro tip, I guess, from one of my friends that uses the Chinese voices because they're actually Chinese. The main character is actually fully voiced in Chinese if you decide to play in Chinese voices. So,
cool.
kind of awkward times where like your main character would say something but you don't hear anything, even though everyone else is voiced. That's kind of resolved in the Chinese voices.
wow.
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 Nice. That's good. That's good. And you guys mentioned about Gacha, right? Like this game is a Gacha game.
It is a free-to-play mobile gacha game.
What do you guys think of the Gacha system in this game?
First of all, should we explain what Gacha is?
Yes, we should. So a gacha is essentially a gachapon, which I guess originates from the Japanese, the gachapon stuff. For people that don't normally play mobile games, I suppose there's a bunch of these games that where you just kind of you're spending premium currency supposedly to roll for, generalizing, rolling for characters or weapons or gear or whatever, right? You're rolling for some extra bonus perk thing, and for Genshin Impact specifically, we are rolling for characters and I suppose weapons as well. And so they split these up into like different tiers. The more rare the character, the harder they are. And for Genshin Impact, I think it's really bad because it's 0.6%.
Oh, that's a really low number. 0.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit deceptive, I guess, just because unlike some other games, I guess, in the same genre, Genshin Impact also includes a pity system, which should be mentioned. And the pity essentially guarantees that no matter what, you get a 5-star rarity character within 90 rolls. And so on the rate up, it's also kind of even better. So if you specifically want the character that is rate up, if you kind of get a 5-star character that isn't that rate up, the next one is guaranteed to be that rate up. So there's like a ceiling, which is definitely appreciated, I guess, because a lot of these games don't have that kind of ceiling.
Cool. All right. So 90 rolls, you said, right?
At most. At most.
At most, yes.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately, Genshin Impact, they also have it where you can, if you don't roll for the 5-star in the current rate up banner, that the kind of like the pity also carries over to the next banner. So you're not like resetting your rolls for every new banner, which is also nice.
That is nice. Yeah. And the highest is 5-star, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to also say, I guess, like, the pity is definitely nice, but it should also be said that kind of, at least in comparison to other gacha games that I've played, because I've played a fair number, the game isn't very generous with its rolls, I guess. They do come, and you can save them up, but it's kind of a slower in comparison to other games.
Yeah, for sure. I agree as well.
Anything else to add, Harley?
So we talked about the rate. You guys talked about the rate. I want to talk about how the gacha is incorporated into the gameplay. I think it's actually a good system, because you are not always guaranteed a role you want. So this system allows different players to have different parties, different characters. They are limited by the roster they pull. Well, unless you obviously pay for a Prime Gem and roll for every character. But say you are limited by certain characters, you are trying to make those elements work, or say you don't have this certain character, maybe your friend does, and that what gives the incentive of co-op, right? So I think we have to look at the gacha in that way, where you're not really always soloing the game. You don't need every character. Although the rate for a 5-star is low, like you said, 0.06%, the 4-star is almost just as good, right? Like, no, there is technically no bad character in the game. They definitely design each character. They put a lot of work into each of them. They all have different mechanics. So if you pull a new character, whether it's a 4-star or 5-star, we can always appreciate that a new mechanics is introduced into our team that we can play around with. So that's all I want to mention for the gacha system.
Okay, cool. And Harley, you mentioned about team. Can you explain more, like, how does this team topic here makes Genshin Impact interesting?
So I think the team building portion is a large part of the game. Although the game is exploration, combat, puzzle solving, you have these mechanics known as elements that are mixed into it, element combo. I won't go in depth into it, that would take too long. The fact that there are different element types, there's different weapon types, and each different weapon type is like affects different things or does more damage on a certain character or enemy. I mean, they all come into play. You have a team of 4, and then there are things called resonance. So if you have 2 of a certain element, it gives certain bonuses to your entire team, keeping everything in line, having you have a better creativity on what is the most efficient out of your roster to play or build. Yeah. So that's what team building is.
Yeah, and as well as to add on that, the fact that like I guess comparing to other gacha games, I suppose, or at least comparing to gacha games in the sense that generally when you roll for these characters, you kind of just use them as like kind of like stat bases. Like you compare, like you're comparing stats because of characters and stuff, right? But in Genshin Impact, you're actually playing them actively. So learning what they do, using the kit, when you're also building your team, right? Whether it's like support, damage, and stuff like that, and like a healer, it definitely brings more value to that character as well. So even if if people are unlucky and you don't get, you don't have a 5-star yet, or you only have like a bunch of 4-stars, like don't undervalue the 4-stars in Genshin Impact as well. Just because like some of the characters, especially if you want to be like free to play, which we'll talk more about later, can definitely be really useful for sure.
Oh, okay. Anything else to add, Dennis?
Yeah, so just as my final thought on the gacha system is the 4-star characters, what's really nice about them is you can actually get them to Constellation 6. And if you don't know what the constellations are, it's basically what you do with duplicates in this game. So when you get a duplicate character, you unlock their constellation, and these abilities kind of are different passives, and some of them can be pretty powerful. So being able to access these extra passives can be pretty meaningful. So definitely don't overlook your 4-stars.
Oh, okay. So kind of saying like each time you pull, if you get the same person, it's not a bad thing at all, eh? So
Yeah.
every pull is actually beneficial, no matter what. And hearing that when you're pulling the gacha for weapons, is that the same thing for weapons too? If you have the 2 same weapons?
Yeah, so instead of Constellation, they're called Refines. It's not unlocking different passives, but it kind of powers up the weapon's existing passive.
Cool. So every pull is not useless at all then. I like that. Okay, so now we talked about the characters, the gacha, and the elements up between the characters. Do you guys think Genshin Impact really utilized that on the puzzles or fighting the monsters in this game?
I would think so, yeah, for sure. I think, as we summarized before, right, the Genshin Impact is about team building. So when you're rolling for these characters, right, you want to kind of plan around like who to use. Like I need a healer or I need a bow, like an archer, or I need a mage, right? I'm generalizing as well, but the characters in the game, they all have like unique skills. I think they all bring something really unique. So if you really like a character, you could build this person up really strong, and they would still be really good. The fact that this game also revolves around like switching characters, so you're not just using one character to fight, you're using like 4 characters, not at the same time, but they have this cool like switching character kind of like synergy, where like Harley was saying earlier, you have all these like different elements, so you're trying to combine like fire with water, you get vaporize. You combine like fire with ice, you get like melt. Like those are like kind of like the things that like really make Genshin Impact, I think, shine as well in terms of combat. Because combat wise, the game's kind of really simple. Like if you just take one character and you kind of like look at their kit, right? You just have your normal attacks, your one like kind of like on cooldown skill, and then like an ultimate ability essentially. So if you kind of look at it that way, the combat's really simple. But when you factor in like other characters and like switching to different characters and then activating like the elements and like interacting with those things, then there's a lot more like depth that comes to it, which is really cool and refreshing as well.
Cool. How about you guys? Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so Tim talked a bit about the kind of combat elements, but I want to talk a bit about the puzzle elements, because as was mentioned, kind of as you explore the world, there's different puzzles that you can do that kind of make chests appear, or during some of the dungeons, I guess, you have to solve puzzles to progress. And I guess one of the memes is Amber is actually a really weak character, even though you get her for free. But see, when it comes to exploration and puzzles, she's actually really good, because there's a lot of puzzles where you want to apply fire to something, and she can apply fire with her charged arrow. So you can kind of do those puzzles and kind of just charge up an arrow rather than waiting for a fire attack skill cooldown or something like that, So it's pretty handy.
Cool. Amber is the red bow tie girl, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
You get her at pretty much the very beginning.
The very beginning. Okay. Cool.
If we have any Amber fans watching this video, let us know. Are you an Amber fan? Have you maxed out your Amber?
Would you guys say, can you start with co-op right away, or is it those kind of games play the story mode for a little bit and then get some co-op going on?
You don't actually start. So I guess the way that the game is advertised is that there is co-op, yes, but it is also mainly a single player game to begin with. So like you don't actually unlock co-op until your adventure rank, or I guess your level 16. That's when you unlock co-op. But even in co-op, there's not at kind of like at that point, there's still not many things you can do. Like you can roam around the world of Genshin in co-op, and you can fight mobs together and stuff like that. But it's kind of limited in the activities to the extent of what you can do in co-op. So it is mainly more a single player game than a co-op game. But it is a nice bonus to have co-op for sure.
Oh, okay. And have you three played together in co-op?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Okay.
I think especially that one Crucible event, we did some runs of it together, I guess.
Oh yes, that's right. Thankfully, MiHoYo, they're bringing out events where like they're making it more co-op stuff, because I think that's what a lot of people are asking for essentially. Like like where are the raids? So, but we haven't gotten those yet, or at least I don't know if they're actually coming out with those kind of like raid style things. But at least they're giving us like stuff to kind of like fight together with, at least. So
Cool. And based on my experience with these kind of mobile games and these gacha games, is there like a lot of dailies in Genshin Impact? Maybe Harley, you can answer that question.
Yeah, so there's definitely daily quests to do. They're called daily commissions. There's four commissions per day, and there's also things called weeklies. They are on your battle pass, specific things you have to do for the week, which is nice compared to a dailies, because not everyone's gonna be free every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the week, let's say people don't work on weekends, but they work weekday, they're still able to complete their weekly. There might be one or two weekly that is really hard to do if you have 2 days of the week to do it. Rather it's spending a certain amount of energy, doing a large amount of, they're called ley lines. I think that the dailies kind of is there to motivate players to just play a certain amount per day. Don't have to go crazy. It's definitely enough to keep you playing, but not like kind of exhausting, if that makes sense. Because, well, to me, for gacha games that have a lot of dailies, they kind of get me. It's almost like a job where like it gets them motivating. There's too much work, right? Especially
Yeah.
if this is not the only game you play. You don't want to prioritize all into one game. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Just to add on a bit, in terms of daily activities, there's kind of a bunch of optional daily activities, I'd say, that you can do as much as you want to, right? If you have more time and you want to spend more time, then you can do them. Some of these include like going around the map looking for these ore spots that are kind of new. They're called like the magic ore spots. And if you talk to the smith will tell you some of the spots, and they kind of refresh on a daily basis. So you can kind of find these ore, or you can go around and defeat kind of the on-map bosses that spawn on a daily basis. And those have the potential to drop artifacts and stuff. It's not super important to do, but if you want to play more, there's like things that you can do.
Cool. So yeah, there's a lot of content from what I'm hearing. There's a lot of things to do. But my next question for you guys is there a disadvantage for someone who hasn't paid a dime for this game compared to someone who paid a lot of money for this game? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So generally, the way these games are kind of made is the more you're willing to invest, the stronger you will be. And that's just kind of how it is. I think it was also mentioned that there is no PvP and it's an entirely PvE game. So there's no competitive aspects that really make being stronger more important. The general benchmark that people use for these games is, can you do all of the content for free? And the answer to that is yes, you can go through all the content for free. There are certainly advantages, like if you are willing to pay more and kind of get the stronger characters, then you'll be able to clear things faster and kind of all that stuff. But it is not necessary.
Oh, okay. And I'm just curious for you three here. Have you guys paid money for this game? Or
Yes.
raised your hand?
Yeah,
Yes.
a little bit.
Yes.
For the price they give you to charge for the battle pass, is it worth it?
For Battle Pass, I think it's worth it considering. Well, it depends on what do you mean by worth it. Like, I have a full-time job. I work every weekday. So that amount of money converted to money is so worth it compared to me working versus playing the game, right? I'm doing a tedious task maybe to earn those things that I could just buy for a Battle Pass for way cheaper. So for me personally, it is worth it.
Oh, okay, cool. How about you, Dennis?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Kind of value-wise, you get a lot for what you pay for. But the thing with the Battle Pass is you do have to be kind of on top of the daily and weekly tasks, so you get access to all of the perks in the Battle Pass, ideally.
Oh, okay. And how about you, Tim? Good for you?
I would say it's definitely worth the value for sure. Just right now, I don't have a job as well, so the approach I'm taking is that if I can, I think like Dennis said, right? If I can make use of the Battle Pass, for free, right? If I can get to the max level, then I'll maybe drop it, because I think I'll be playing Genshin Impact for a while, at least for the current future. So I think it's definitely worth the value there.
Worth the value there. Okay. And I heard you guys mention like primal gems. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that is the current the premium currency the named premium currency of this Genshin Impact.
Oh, okay. So currency is a different thing than battle pass, right?
Yeah.
What do you get out of the battle pass? Is it like characters or skins?
So the Battle Pass is kind of like, just think of a Battle Pass for other games Battle Passes for. Like, I know Fortnite does it, and Fall Guys does it and stuff like that. As you kind of level up the Battle Pass, you get different in-game rewards. And for Genshin Impact, it's like Mora, which is like the in-game currency, kind of like gold, the weapon EXP crystals, and character EXP books. And those kind of in-game things. You also get some primo gems in it and some rolls as well, some gacha tickets.
Oh, okay, I see. Awesome. So I know we talked a lot of positive things about Genshin Impact. I was curious, is there one thing that you're kind of like super annoyed about Genshin Impact that they do? Let's start with you, Tim. Is there anything you're like, I wish they can fix this, or this is always annoying me?
See, I think I play this game semi-casually. Maybe not. Maybe casually is still the wrong word. Like, I'm not casual, I suppose, but I'm not like super hardcore. So, and talking about dailies, right? There's actually I feel like for me, there's so many things to do. So that, like, my biggest criticism is that I don't have the time to do all these things every day. Of course, I can get the main dailies done, but like to get like kind of like the value out of like everything, right? There's like I got like monsters to kill, the lead lines that kind of like for like the weeklies, right? To get those out of the way, because if I miss them, then by the time the week ends, I like, oh shoot, I haven't done these, and like I gotta like scrounge around before like they get done, right? So it's just, for me, there's actually too many things to do. I think that's at least my criticism for it. But that's also a good thing as well. So I mean, for anyone that's playing, but yeah, that's just my kind of more nitpick.
Fair enough. Yeah. If you're busy or it's too much, it could be intimidating for sure for some players. So yeah. How about you, Harley? Is there anything that you're annoyed or nitpicky about the game?
I mean, certain bugs in the game and certain like quality of life. So, for example, when you fight this dragon called Storm Terror on the weekly, you clip through the neck. That is very annoying because you can only attack him in the neck. When you clip through him, if you change characters. Another one would be some stuff in co-op. There's a lot of restrictions that I don't know why it's placed there. For example, you can't craft during co-op, and you need to craft a lot. Although I do play daily, I still would appreciate not too much to do. Like, I kind of still overwhelmed by the amount of stuff. Like, I don't do routes. I don't go back to spawns every day just for materials, but I do just do the commission. So yeah.
Oh, okay. How about you, Dennis?
So for me, I think it's kind of a bit of the opposite problem. Well, not necessarily the opposite problem, but I think one big complaint kind of that I've heard around the community, at least, is recent issues, just the stamina system. A lot of people are saying it feels too limited. And while I did say that there are a lot of activities you can do, like the boss routes and that kind of stuff, it really does feel like your resin is what's really limiting you. Like, your resin is kind of your most valuable resource there, I guess, and you get the most out of your playtime when you're using your resin, I guess. Yeah, the resin just feels like it regenerates very slow, but that can be okay. But I think it'd be nice if, to compensate, like, if you just have a day where you can do a lot more things, then it'd be nice if they gave more fragile resin, which is kind of like a way to restore your resin, just so you can play when you want to, I guess. But right now, if you've already used those fragile resin, then it kind of feels like you're limited to playing when the resin is available.
Oh, I see.
And just to add on as well, to give context to the resin for anyone that hasn't played Genshin Impact yet, it's so the cap of the energy, the resin system, is 160, and to do like small dungeons, it costs 20. To do mini bosses, it costs 40. To do weekly bosses, they cost 60. That sounds not too bad, but to recharge one resin is about 8 minutes. So if you're 0 out of 160, that's pretty much like 16 hours or something. You know, it's a long time. So,
That is a long time.
so that is the complaint of why a lot of people have probably problems with the resin system as well.
Oh, okay. I see. And Dennis, you mentioned like the community, like, is it like a huge community? Are they welcoming? Or are they informative? Like, I'm curious what your thoughts on the community itself.
Personally, I haven't actually been too involved in the community. I just kind of keep tabs on what people are talking about sometimes and what people are complaining about. But from to my understanding, just from at a glance, it looks pretty mixed. Like there's a lot of helpful people, for example, because I'll see people asking questions, for example, and there's always people giving helpful answers. So I think in that sense, it is quite welcoming. But there's also a lot of people complaining, for example, about the Resin system, and complaining, for example, about like not having consistent daily logins, or so there's like definitely a toxic side to the community as well. But I guess all communities probably have that, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So I think it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag, but that's what you're gonna get. I do think the memes are pretty funny, and there's a lot of people kind of contributing content like fan art and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I think it's looking good for at a glance, at least.
The community is definitely helpful. You can find a lot of resources that is crucial to playing the game. Whether it's them making an interactive map that shows all the locations of where you find stuff where you wouldn't normally be able to find on your own unless you dig through hundreds of hours of gameplays, right? Or like event-wise, where we had an event where you had to find shards on the map, but like the day before the event even came out, they already have a map showing all the locations. So that definitely helped me. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So good community.
Good
Fine.
community. All right. How about you, Tim?
Mainly to echo off what Harley, I think like because the current community is also like it's pretty active right now because the game is still pretty fresh. You know, like constant guides are coming out. So like if I don't know how to build this one character, I can always like, you know, there's always like the current YouTubers out there. There's guides on like Reddit and stuff like that, like the subreddit. There's probably like the official Genshin Discord as well. And I think because there's also the co-op element to the game, I think the Discord, for example, is also like a good resource as well to join up with other random people and just clear content as well.
Cool. All right. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for sharing all your information. I'm just looking at the time here and like, ooh, I think it's almost our time's up. So I think it's time to answer the most important question of this episode. Is it worth your Fridays? Or is it worth even trying for this game? We'll start with Dennis. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, as someone that's kind of put a fair amount of time and money into this game, I guess, I definitely think it's been worth it. Don't get scared away from me saying that I've put in some money because it is free to try, right? So just give it a try, and if it's for you, then just play it at, you know, a comfort level for you. Just to talk about, I guess, who I think this might appeal to is people that kind of like the feeling of exploration, but also like RPGs. It kind of, for me, I guess if it's okay to bring another game into this, it scratches a very similar itch to a game called Mabinogi that I played quite a while in the past. And Mabinogi was also just quite open-ended and also had RPG systems in it. So if you kind of have experienced a game like that, where it's like there's a lot of options available to you, but there is an RPG stat and leveling system as well, and you liked that kind of feeling, you might also very much like this game.
Awesome.
Oh, I see. How about you, Harley? Do you think it's worth your Fridays or worth trying to play Genshin Impact?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, like Dennis said, it's a free game. So as long as it's a free game, I don't think it's mostly worth it to give it a shot. There are some things that might not make this game the most ideal. Although there's a gacha system, you can't look at it as like most of the gacha game, because what I noticed about this game is there aren't really idle gameplay, which a lot of gacha game does. So I have a friend, you guys might know him, Chi. He likes playing gacha games where he just rolls and then he just doesn't play it and then wait until there's a currency and then roll. Well, this game is not like that. So if this game is definitely worth trying, but definitely do not have a mindset of playing this game where you just roll and then wait until another month and then roll again, because that's definitely not how the game's played. But combining both the really unique aspect of, well, at least unique for me, where it's an action game where it's team building, where you switch the character as you fight at the same time, is really different. And just I feel like the amount of work put into this game is definitely worth a try.
Oh, nice. Last but not least, Tim. What do you think?
Well, we should cover, in a sense, for mobile players, because this is a kind of or more or less a mobile gacha as well. If you're purely playing on mobile, for Genshin Impact, rest in peace your thumb. A bit for matter of respect, but it's kind of difficult for mobile. I think like if this was like your main game for like mobile, it's worth a try. No doubt. I think if people out there who play action RPGs, more active action RPGs, and are more used to the control systems, I think it's pretty good. But I think for a PC player or PS4 player, then yeah, it's free. It's a single player experience, so you're not like competing against anyone or anything. And I think what Dennis and kind of Harley were saying, it has RPG elements, it has co-op elements, it has team building elements. So it meshes a lot of what kind of the mainstream PC or like the console games can do, but also bring in kind of like the fun aspects of like the smaller aspects of mobile, where you're kind of like team building and stuff like that too. Not just building like one character or something as well. I'm not counting Final Fantasy, but but yeah, it's definitely worth a try for sure. You definitely don't need to spend money, because if you ever need help, like as long as you have some friends that are playing, co-op beats everything easier.
I agree to that. Yes, co-op.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. You have 3 confirming yes, it's worth the try, and yes, it's worth your Friday. But it's up to you to decide, viewers, that if you think it's worth your Fridays, because there are cons into the Genshin Impact, and are you able to tolerate or not? I think that's an important question to ask. So, alrighty. So, before we end this episode, I'm curious, what kind of games besides Genshin Impact that you guys are playing right now? Let's start with Harley here.
So I'm currently playing another gacha game called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Just because I'm a fan of Final Fantasy like genre as a whole like franchise, and they have a Kingdom Hearts crossover event currently. I'm also playing a Steam game called Satisfactory. It's a crafting game, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, those are my games.
Ooh, okay, cool. How about you, Dennis?
Primarily right now, I'm just playing another gacha game called Arknights. It's a bit more on the tower defense strategy side of games, but I enjoy it, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Oh, cool. And how about you, Tim?
I'm kind of just chilling with some team fight tactics. Trying to get diamond right now. I'm literally 99 points. Plat 1, so it's just kind of like why just give me the one last point, but yeah. What about you, Dave?
That one last point, eh?
Yeah, just the one last point.
For me, I am busy with work, so to be honest, I've been playing the new game plus of Spider-Man. Is that what it's called? When you play it again?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. So I'm replaying Spider-Man again, but with all my gadget and all my skills in.
The PS4 one, or like the Miles Morales?
The Miles Morales one. Sorry. Yeah. Good game, by the way. Good game. I think I said that in the last episode. But yeah, I'm still playing that, but just with different suits. So yeah, totally digging the 2099 suit. So loving it. I think that's time for our show here. So I just want to thank our special guests here, Dennis and Harley, for coming up. for this episode of Genshin Impact. Your thoughts, impression, and knowledge about the game really helped me. For the guy who only played 10 minutes, don't really know much, as well as Tim here too. I think you guys give a lot of good thoughts for people to think about and see if the game is worth their Friday. So yeah, so thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So that'll be it. So thanks for watching. See you guys next week.
Bye bye. Harley Dennis, you're waving?
I'm waving.
I'm leaving. I promise.